And we're back, and we just finished watching Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop, currently streaming on Netflix. The runtime on this film is 1 hour, 27 minutes. According to
it sure felt like it.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
It did for me.
Don't be
IMDb
ridiculous.
says 2020, although the poster says 2021. I'm not really sure. This is an animated feature about two young people who meet and fall in love, I guess. Even though their time together is very limited because the young man is now moving to
somewhere else.
They never say where.
Yeah, they never say where. And
over the rainbow.
even though the girl is sort of like, I don't know, what is she, like an influencer on social media? There's something still very shy and reserved about her. She feels the need to hide her mouth because she has braces.
She has buck teeth.
And buck teeth, right.
They're adorable, though.
They're called beaver teeth, Mom.
No, it's actually called buck teeth.
I call them beaver teeth.
Okay, I mean, I think you can refer to it either way. All right, so I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. What did you think? I'm going to start with you.
I mean, it was sort of like a romantic I guess. I mean, it never really made me laugh.
Netflix said it was violence. It had like
No.
violence.
I didn't understand that.
The violence was from the skateboard scene. That was it.
That wasn't really violent, though.
It showed people crashing into each other and bumping into
Wouldn't
each
that
other.
be more like in line with action, or?
And also, that kid would have died if he like fell from that height on that skateboard.
Yes, he probably would have died. But that's why it's an anime.
I don't think he would have died. He probably would have broken a bone or two or more.
He should have come out of that in worse shape than he did.
It was very stylized. I think they were going for cool stuff for the trailer, probably. As for what I thought of it, it was okay. It's not really my cup of tea. People in anime act very animated. Pun not really intended, but they do, and it's when you're going for like, I guess, this sort of like drama or more realistic. It removes me a little bit from the story. Like,
so a fair point, but do you think that's more cultural? Because the reason I say that is because for a while there, I was all over the Korean soap operas and
Spanish soap operas.
But there was a point in time about 2 years ago where I really got into Korean soap operas, and watching them, there are differences culturally, like things that I guess American audiences would be like, what, why are people doing this? But there's definitely a difference. And I think watching this film and like listening to the verbiage and seeing the situations, because it's very innocent. Like this little relationship that these two characters have, it's very innocent. They don't even kiss at all.
right.
They don't.
No, well, I'm not really talking about cultural things. I'm just talking about in animes, the characters overact. Like if something happens that's somewhat interesting, especially if they're a female character, they're like, yeah, they're jumping up and down.
I see what you're
lines
saying about
shooting out of their head, and it's like, okay, that was a unique thing that just happened, but if this was a live action movie, the character wouldn't act like that. If somebody gets angry, like Tough Boy getting angry,
It would be like.
in anime, it's like what Olive just did. He basically turns into almost like a monkey reacting to something.
Just like you monkey.
And whereas if this was a live action thing, if you saw somebody act like that, you would just be like, that seems a little over the top.
Yeah.
He's really hamming it up. And an anime...
Hamming.
And I would say on a lot of anime, in this one, there were certain cases where I guess they're going for comedy, and in order to like amp it up, they do that. But to me, like that works in a lot of anime. That's also the type that's more fantastical, where it's you've already checked. You've already
story.
No, that's what I mean. This isn't. So it seems it's a little out of place. It's like if this was a live action drama, you wouldn't behave that way.
I don't know. I think the filmmaker or maybe the screenwriter was trying to convey like this rush of emotions. I mean, you remember what it's like to be that young.
I understand.
And like
yes.
maybe this is his first love, and just the scenes where Cherry completely goes red from top to bottom.
He looks like
Tomato.
a cherry.
Yeah, no.
So I think a lot of it is it's exaggerated, but for the sake of illustrating how when you're young.
Right, yes, right. I understand that aspect of it. You want to have anime. They're going to use the medium to its full effect, so they're going to exaggerate things a bit or a lot actually. But given the tone of the story, like I've seen other animes where characters don't act that way when something like that happens. It's a little bit more subdued. It's a little bit more natural. And
it didn't take me out of the story here because I expected that from Smile. Like I expected her to be very like fun and flirty and this, that, and the other thing. But even though she's this, I guess, internet person, there's something about her that's still reserved and insecure, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
she's very insecure with the whole teeth
thing, right? And I think that very much plays into being a young person. You're not an adult, but you're not a child, and you're trying to find your way in the world.
You know what? That to me rang true. The fact that she was so obsessed with covering her face because of her teeth,
which was silly because I'm like,
yeah, that's a teenage thing.
Absolutely.
Everybody's looking at me. Yes. I'm the center of the attention. Yeah. I mean, maybe in her world, because she was like this sort of influencer, I guess she was very self-conscious about that. But I mean, you became well known apparently for a reason. Mm-hmm. When one of those reasons was your teeth. You were a little kid. It was like a very cute thing, a little kid with buck teeth. So these people were there from the beginning.
Right.
I'm sure. I mean, it is the internet. They didn't really go into any sort of internet bullying aspect of the story. But yeah, that rang kind of true to me.
Well, I gotta be honest. I watched this, and I think I mentioned this to you as the movie was finishing. I saw this movie and completely. I feel like in recent years, which is funny because when I was in college studying film, I always wondered why there wasn't a push like young adult like stories. I think there were some like in the late 80s and stuff, and maybe into the early 90s. I think that one with the one that we always laugh about with Rachel Cook and Freddie Prinze Jr. like that one is like early 90s. But all those movies were formulaic. It was always like, oh, here's the homely girl who then becomes a knockout, and like the captain of the football team is like, oh, he made a bet with his friends to take the homely girl out. Yeah. And then in the next scene, she's like this hot to trot young thing.
But he falls in love.
And of course, he falls in love.
He falls in love with her before she's super hot.
Yeah.
Because that means it's true love.
Exactly. And it seemed like a lot of the movies in the late 80s and into the early 90s were that story told over and over and over again.
All that girl.
And I found it interesting because I feel like young adult is definitely an interesting genre. And especially...
No, it isn't. It's all the same thing, Mommy.
It's not.
It is.
But young adult now...
To a 9-year-old, it's all the same.
Right. And it's funny, having been a young adult and now seeing my young adult reading the books that are considered young adult. And it's funny because it's way different than when you and I were growing up. The young adult genre.
Oh yeah.
It's way, way different. I mean, it's funny because it's almost a stereotype. I think like 80% of the young adult novels are dystopian teenagers saving the world kind of things.
Yeah.
And then you have 30 or maybe 20%, or maybe it's less than 80%, but then the other portion is terminal kids falling in love or something like that. So I feel like it's still very formulaic, but...
When we were growing up, it was basically a girl freaking out about her period.
Yes.
Period?
Yeah, I mean, Judy Blume, my God, that was like Are You
A
There,
big
God? It's Me,
hit
Margaret. That was
single.
like a huge pivotal book in my young adult life. But
I'm pretty sure they made movies about them.
I'm sure. But
Movies,
now it's so
novels,
different because it's like
videos.
you have like these teenagers that are coming into like this dystopian hellscape that
Yeah.
the adults created, like the one with what's her name, Jennifer Lawrence. I can't
Hunger
even remember.
Games.
Hunger Games, right?
The Hunger Games.
You have nothing to say. Anyway, so I was gonna say I couldn't finish my thought because I, in a roundabout way, try to get to it. Is that while I was watching this film, a lot of it spoke to me from the vantage point of a young adult or having been a young adult at a point in my life. And I felt like this movie could have absolutely been translated to live action, kind of a small independent film where it's like these quirky characters and they come together and it's like the
I
first
hate quirky characters, Mommy.
the first time that you fall in love. And that's basically what this story is. Like Cherry is kind of this very withdrawn young man who
He's very,
kind of shuts out the world with his headphones.
Yeah, he's extremely socially awkward.
Extremely socially awkward. And then you have somebody like Smile who's a little bit better,
No,
but
she-
being a young woman has all these preconceived notions about beauty and the myth of beauty and how she falls short of it.
Yeah, seriously, that's all she could see is her teeth,
Yeah.
and the rest of her is fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with
And
her.
honestly, there was nothing wrong with her teeth.
No, they weren't crooked or anything.
I
They were
love her beaver teeth.
covered with green stuff.
Cute.
Well, I mean, it was like I said, I felt it was okay, but it just wasn't my
Well, this movie wasn't
Jam?
made for you.
wasn't made for me.
No. Gigi, what did you think?
Yeah, you picked it.
I like this movie.
Okay. Why did you want to see it?
I saw the trailer on YouTube and I thought we could review it.
Okay. Fair enough. Did you have a favorite scene in this thing?
The end, because when Olivia started crying, it made me laugh really hard, and also I just liked it.
The ending was pretty funny.
I don't know why I was crying over that trash.
It's not
It's not
trash. It
What
was.
was he talking about?
He was talking about how he was in love with her.
Oh,
It was cute.
Is this similar to like the stuff that?
awful.
Oh, relax, Olive. Relax.
Jesus Christ.
Was this similar to the stuff like like the web comics you read?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you have a favorite character?
Cherry. Yuki
liked
was
Cherry a
way
lot.
too focused on her teeth. I liked her, but she was
Yeah.
she was way too focused on her teeth.
I thought the story with the older gentleman, I forgot what his name was.
Fujiyama?
Maybe? Yeah, I think that was the name of the
Fujiyama,
record
and I'm
store.
pretty sure this is very insulting, but they called this guy Fat Kid.
No, that
That
kid.
was Japan,
Yeah. That
Kid
was,
that worked in the electronics store.
yeah, that was Japan. I think that's his name.
Well, that's what they called him. I doubt that was his real name. but
Yeah.
they called him
I think everybody had nicknames.
Yeah, like
I mean,
Smile, Cherry, Beaver.
Smile,
Beaver.
Cherry, Beaver.
I love beavers.
What?
Beaver
Oh,
was
tough
ridiculous.
guy.
Guy.
Tough guy.
Or,
Oh, tough boy. Tough boy.
Tough boy.
Yes, Fujiyama, Mr. Fujiyama. Yeah, I thought that story was kind of sad. Just the whole idea of like being this old gentleman whose wife is not around anymore, who's
God.
facing his mortality.
He just wanted to hear his wife's voice
Again. And then Smile broke the record.
Oh,
my
God.
Dad said that
It was
in the movie, like he just dies of a heart attack.
Yeah, he dies. She breaks him and he dies on the spot.
No old men died in the movie.
No one died.
No
in
one
the
dies.
movie.
No one died in the movie.
It's
Aw,
not sad at all.
I wanted some death.
No.
Not that
not
kind
that
of movie.
kind of
When you
movie.
heard the title, you should have known what you were in for.
Olive, did you have a favorite scene in this movie?
No.
Did you have a favorite character?
No.
Did it make you love haikus?
No.
Oh, God.
There was a very big haikus were apparently a huge
Thing for Cherry.
thing for Cherry, and it was used as a sort of a thing throughout the entire movie. I mean, there were haikus spray painted everywhere,
Courtesy of Beaver.
courtesy of Beaver.
Right. But I think he got them from Cherry, right? He was just
Yeah, he was practicing his
Japan.
his Japanese writing.
Yeah.
It's Japanese, right?
So yeah, haiku.
And every time he posted, I guess on Twitter, or
Yeah.
what
It
was
was called,
Google?
like-
Noogle?
Google was Moogle.
Moogle.
Amazon was Yamazon.
And they
That
were
was
posting
hilarious.
on something called like Curiosity.
Curiosity rather
yes.
than
But
Twitter.
that was like Twitter because it was like
Yeah,
a
'cause
sentence
you had likes. There was like that whole like epic moment where Cherry is about to get followed by Smile, and it's like he's like about to explode,
Oh God, they were making all those weird noises.
Yeah.
Like
sweating and trembling and turning red and
And
fingers
also, like, with
fingers
his
hovering
hand,
over
what
hearts and
was
stuff
going
like
on?
that.
It was like that and that and like.
he was trying to reach out to her, but he did something weird with his arm where he went like that. Like he
Yeah,
raised
it
his
was bizarre.
elbow.
He was so awkward. He just wanted to like touch her.
But
and-
this
Comfort her.
this really, I honestly feel like this could have been a live action movie. This could have been a small,
Oh,
independent
absolutely.
live action
There was-
film
yeah.
about this, and it
I
could
liked
have
it
been the
better
same-
animated.
I think it works great animated, but I think if the Americans ever decide to poach this property for its own benefit, I think it could work as a live action with just like some quirky characters, sort of in the vein of like a What's Eating Gilbert Grape kind of thing, where you have like these very strange characters kind of trying to find their way in the world.
I think haikus would have to become way more popular.
Either that, or they could
They
just
translate it to
Ruined
rappers or something like
Well,
that.
they could have
Story.
translated
You never
it to
liked
rap
them in the
battles.
first
It could have been like
place.
8 Mile or something, like a reworking of 8 Mile.
Yeah, the super
I never
awkward
liked
quiet
haikus
kid
in the
becomes like
first place.
Okay, be
crushing
quiet, please.
people in the rap battle.
There you go. Why not?
Yeah.
That works. I bet you that would get a lot of young audiences in there.
Yeah.
Why not?
I wish there was a rap battle.
I mean, the ending felt like a rap battle. I mean, he was just
He
going
was
on
just
and on.
ripping.
No, it
just
didn't.
Haiku after haiku after haiku.
Rap battles, you're insulting someone. That was like a
Not
poem.
always, I don't think. Not always.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, sure.
I don't think that would be a poem.
Yes, so he was like putting the haikus together to form a poem.
But ultimately, he was trying to express his love for Smile.
He was basically erupting from his shell.
Yes.
He was looking right at her.
I thought it was very cute. I guess there's really not much else to say. I mean, the animation was decent.
The animation was decent.
You know, when they were walking together.
That was a little rough. But
Yeah, there were some shortcuts. It's not like super top of the line animation. I think the skateboard scene was probably where they put all that their budget money. The rest, I mean,
it's serviceable.
it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't.
It wasn't like those Light FM commercials
Oh,
from the
jeez.
90s.
Wait, what is Light FM?
It's an old
It was like a radio station that they had like these horrible 3D animated characters and like it was so bad. It's like, okay, make the characters dance and like their arms were bending backwards so their elbows were
Or
just
they would
like
disappear.
yeah, their
their
arms were going
limbs would
through their
destroy
bodies.
Trollland.
It was
Troll.
no Trollland like they. If they could have gotten Trollland level animation, it would have been way better than what they.
You know what
presented on television.
Trollland is? That
I've seen a clip from Trollland. You showed it to me.
oh god, it's terrible. It's so terrible. Nightmare.
Anyway, so yeah, all right.
Those little babies look
is
like
just-
They're
Shrek.
getting
She is blowing out my eardrum. My God, it's late. This kid better go to bed. It is late. I don't want to hear any nonsense. All right, so I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. Gigi, since this was your film, 1 to 10.
I really like this, so 7 3/4.
7 3/4. 1 to 10. Olive G. 6. I would give it a 7 too. I think The animation was decent. I thought the story was cute. The voice acting was well done. Well, though this is like a dubbed version. It's not the original Japanese, but it's
they
worked
really went overboard with the subtitles for stuff
for everything. Yeah,
because even stuff that was written in English had an English subtitle. It's like
which
guys
was
holding a
pretty
can
funny.
that says beer on it, and it just says beer underneath it.
1 to 10.
I'd give it like a 5.5 or a 6. It's
better than Space Jam.
It's better.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
better
I
than
like
Space
it better.
Jam.
It's
Yeah.
way more better than this.
No, it wasn't.
No,
This
it
was
wasn't.
better.
What?
No, this was better. This was so much better than Space
She
Jam.
has to sit in the
I
next
don't
room.
care
So.
what you
It's a Space Jam's a different type of thing.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
a completely different thing. This is like a relationship drama. Like I said, it's I don't know. It just wasn't there. It just wasn't really for me. The whole haiku thing, the whole social influencer thing,
garbage.
not really for me. I could see the merits of it being just a decent budding teen romance sort of thing. But for me, it wasn't. It's not something I would rush out and see ever.
What would you rather see, this or that Freddie Prinze movie?
Oh, the Freddie Prinze movie? I would probably see the Freddie Prinze movie again.
Really?
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze. Freddie.
Wait, would you rather watch this again or Lady Bird?
I would rather watch this than Lady Bird.
Good. That is the correct answer.
That is the only answer.
Yeah, Lady Bird was.
Lady Bird
Would
was
you
not
rather
good.
watch
meandering.
this or Cruella?
This.
I'd probably.
This.
I don't-
This.
No, I'd probably
This.
watch Cruella again.
Really?
Yeah.
How dare you?
This
dare you
this
is
real
right.
this just wasn't for me. I mean, I didn't really care for Cruella that much either, but this really
This
wasn't.
was better than Cruella.
This wasn't made.
This was better
was
than
not
Cruella.
made for me. I didn't
I don't
find
know
anything
you.
about it annoying or bad. Nothing about this angered me or had me sucking my teeth and rolling my eyes.
Weren't you weren't upset having to pay $30 for Cruella?
Oh well, come on. That's a completely unfair comparison.
I mean, I went into that movie already being sterling.
that's a mark against Cruella that has nothing to do with the actors or the performances.
No, you know
or
what?
anything like that.
If it had been better, I wouldn't have mind paying. In my mind,
Of course.
I had to tell myself, you know what? This Loki series is going to be worth the $30. So,
All right. Anyway, like I said, all right. I'll give it a 6.
okay.
Okay. It's better than average.
It's better than
It's
average.
okay. 6 is okay. That's the okay rating.
But I think the story itself was interesting because I think we've mentioned this before. Life is messy. It's not witty quips. It's awkward. It's messy. Some parts of it are pretty brutal. Some parts of it are okay. And I think with young people too, you're at this point in your life where everything is just so much. I don't want to say exaggerated, but everything, you feel things 10 times more. Everything is high stakes and high drama.
Well, that's true. You know what? Maybe what bothered me a little bit, or what prevented me from really getting into it, I couldn't really get into the characters because for Cherry, he likes haikus. He's really, really quiet and socially awkward. And for some reason, he's doing his mom's job. But outside of that, there really wasn't.
He was doing it because she got injured.
Yeah, I know, but that's like you going to mom's work because she doesn't feel good. It's like, what job would be like, okay, your daughter can cover for you.
But again, this is where we
True.
go back
He's
to the
pretty
whole.
young.
But
Well,
this is again where we go back to the thing about culture.
No.
Culture
Okay,
is different.
Okay, I'm with you there. What I'm mainly saying, though, is they didn't give me enough of this guy's life for me to really sort of identify with him or feel for him or anything like that. Like there wasn't any aspects of his life outside of that.
Okay.
He he was so obsessed with haikus that he really didn't have any other personality beyond that.
Well, I mean, he's young. I mean, I feel.
I know, but
even
even in other
he
films,
he met her in his 17th year, so he's 17 years old. I mean, what are your life experiences at 17?
Well, you get to usually in these things you get to see how they react with their friends, how they react with their parents.
You see that scene
Not
in the,
really.
in the rooftop.
That's barely a scene. That's
Barely a scene,
barely
but
a scene, and it only serves one purpose.
I think it served the purpose of highlighting how
And
just
was he really
awkward Cherry is, even with people that he knows.
Maybe, but it really, I don't know. There wasn't enough to the character for me, and kind of the same with Smile. She was a like why the hell did people like? Maybe I just don't understand what the hell social influencers are, because she basically just would bust out her phone and then just walk around a mall doing a live stream, going, "Look at this. This is so cool. Look at this.
Yeah,
this is the best. Look at this. Oh my God, this is so cute."
Stop it! You're scaring him.
It was, and she has 180,000 followers, and she's getting like tons of comments and things going up, and millions of likes. And it's, what are you doing? You're not showing anything. You walked up to a cutout and said, "Oh my God, look, it's Hikaru."
That's just what people do nowadays.
Exactly,
This is entertaining for some reason.
My mind is boggled. What the hell is
It's
going
2021.
You really don't understand the current state of affairs.
Is that Jesus?
That's social media. That's so like the influencers. That's what they do.
All right.
Stop.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
Yes, please. This is uncomfortable.
You said 6. I said 7, 7, and 6. Okay.
7 3/4.
7 3/4. Sorry. So I guess, yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it and you're looking for some fun anime film that's not too heavy, not too deep, clocks in at an hour and 27 minutes, so not too much of your time, I would recommend Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop. Also a very just fun title. I mean, I could see this like on a young adult novel book cover. This is currently streaming on Netflix, we said, right? Correct. And that's it from us, and we will come back with another review soon. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Goodbye.